All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Wall Street Stonks Podcast. This is the sixth one, and we have Mr. Caleb Roberts here from TikTok. Caleb, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I am Caleb Roberts. I own a TikTok ad agency, and I am now going viral for cryptocurrency blockchain side hustles.
Love it. I've been following along that crypto side hustle challenge / exposure. I have never heard of any of that, and I think it's fascinating. I love the videos that you're making about it. I can tell by the comments no one else has heard of it, and everyone's super interested to see how they can get involved in it. Before we dive into that, what the hell is a TikTok ad agency?
TikTok ad agency is we run ads for brands and businesses, mostly for e-commerce companies, since they perform the best whenever it comes to TikTok ads. Or we consult businesses on how to create content for the platform and then a strategy for their brand.
Awesome. What outside of e-commerce companies, what other types of companies would benefit from advertising on TikTok?
Any company that only focuses on brand awareness. So like Coca-Cola, right? They want to create more brand equity by getting tons of people to see them 20 different times and everywhere they look. So if anyone wants like super cheap traffic that will get them lots of views, then that's the perfect platform to do it, because it's underpriced traffic compared to YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to run a lot of Facebook ads when I was playing around with drop shipping. And one of the biggest expenses was just trying to get people to get off of Facebook and go onto my site. Yes. And paying for all these ads, paying for the creative. Luckily, I come from a marketing and video production background, so I can do that heavy lifting myself. But I see a lot of other people paying video production companies a lot of money to make a video about an ad. And then they now have that collateral, and then they need to disseminate that collateral on things like Facebook and YouTube and other ad platforms. And that cost just adds up. Yes. And when I made my TikTok, you make a video and it gets 400,000 views. You're like, whoa, I didn't have to pay anything for that. So I see the value. I really see the value in TikTok marketing. And I've loved your channel ever since I realized that that's what you talk about. And I'm like, this is just fascinating stuff to dive into. How did you get into either marketing or TikTok marketing?
Well, I got into marketing. I used to own a production company, and we specialized in weddings. And I had a team of photographers and videographers, and was even buying out photo booths. And before I found my specialty, I had done all types of videos. And I used to make Facebook ad videos for people. And then people would go like, what do I do now with my video? And I'm like, I don't know. You only hired me for the video. You didn't tell me how to get views. And everyone always has a video. So that's kind of like how I would always get those clients. I would always be like, yeah, I mean, video is one of the top mediums of the 21st century. And they're like, oh yeah, I need an explainer video for this. And then I would just like dig into their brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, that would look amazing. And then if you did this, and then we'd kind of like brainstorm, and then I'd just sign them right there, like at a networking event, because they could just picture it, But I didn't do that with marketing at all. I was like, I don't know anything. So then I started learning more, because I would go to these networking groups, and they're full of boomers, and I would tell them about how to get views on Instagram or Facebook and stuff like that. And I really started to like it. So I bought courses, I got into like the whole ClickFunnels world, and, hire like those Dan Henry start your own social media marketing agency courses. And then I eventually got kind of like hired, or I guess, I don't know, I was like brought on to like learn marketing for someone who I made a lot of videos for, and they paid me a salary, and I learned it through there. And then They invested in my company to do video production. And so while I had my wedding video company, we had a Facebook ad agency on the side. And that was just us dabbling in lead gen for companies that have high ticket items or services that they offer. So it's kind of how I got into it. But then at the start of the pandemic, that's whenever I was like, okay, well, we need to get more clients. So I might as well like broaden my audience that I help out. And that's when I got on TikTok and I got 100,000 views on my first video. And I was like, okay, frick, let's post 3 times a day. Let's see what happens. And then I fell in love with TikTok and then left Facebook. And I was like, okay, I want to be the Dan Henry of TikTok ads. I want to teach other people how to do it. So, that's what I'm in the process of doing. Is I don't know anyone else who owns like a TikTok only ad agency, but my goal is to teach other people how to do the same thing. And it's really helped specializing in like such a specific platform too. So that's how I got into it, where I am now.
I love it. What's your favorite part about TikTok marketing?
I think I just had a meeting this morning, and it's these clients, these brands, they come to me as if they know everything, but there's a reason they come to me, right? There's a reason why you want to hire a TikTok ad. It's because you don't know anything. And so it's always like, they always think they're so special by saying, we're going to hire out influencers to make this content for us. And that's our strategy. And then I flip it on their head and I'm like, stop it. That's not what you do. And so usually by the end of these meetings, people are just like, okay, yeah, I really think we need to work with you. And I think we don't know that much whenever. And it's really funny because it kind of levels the playing field. Like I meet with companies that are multi-million, billion-dollar brands. And I was intimidated, but now we're on the same level, right? Like we don't need to be intimidated. I just think it's funny that people think that they come into the meeting thinking they know exactly what they want. But I know what you need, and I've done it before. You don't tell me what you think you want. Like I know how the platform works. So I think that's the most fun of doing it.
No, that's awesome. I get a lot of DMs and emails, whether it's from cryptocurrency companies or other tools, whether they're good or bad in the finance space. Whether it'll help you buy stocks and all these different things. There's tools, there's apps, there's websites, there's all these different platforms that reach out and they say, hey, we think your audience would like this. What's your average rate to make a video and post it? Now, I don't have an average rate. It really depends. Everything I do is scalable. I talk to them first. I try to understand what do they need. Luckily, I come from a marketing and video production background, so I can actually engage in these conversations. But throughout the couple of paid ads that I've done, I have had almost 100% of the control on the creative and on the script and on the everything. And when I'm doing this, I always think they are so lucky I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I didn't know what I was doing, that would have been a waste of their marketing budget. Now, that's what scares me about possibly other people who are doing ads on TikTok and maybe even Facebook or whatever. People are reaching out to us and saying, hey, can you make us a video and make it go viral? I'm like, ooh, like you have no other strategy or feedback or anything, which leads me to my next question. What's your process to help these companies identify their goals and identify the right person and get the right message out to the right people at the right time? What's your process? How do you help them?
Yeah, well, the only goal I focus on, which helps me really find out who I want to work with, is like I am only here to try and make you make money. I'm not really here to just buy you views, because anyone can do that. I mean, with the new boosted feature, people can do that too for stupid amounts of money. Mm-hmm. So When I come to a brand, I always position it as, I'm not here. I did the whole thing where it was like, I make all your ads, I make all your videos, you just pay me a monthly rate, and I'll search the influencers out for you. I've even done like flat rates for just scripting out videos for people, but that just took too much of my time. And it was always like, they always relied on me. It was never them learning from their problems, and it was never good enough, even if I made a video go viral, which in every situation I did. And I like freaking, I was underpriced for what I was doing back in the day while I was learning how to even do it for TikTok. But I realized everyone relies on you if you're the successful one. Like, if you got them a viral video, they would be like, "Oh, we're gonna freaking hire him forever." But they're still not learning. They're not, they're not creating their own content. And so that's what I start out with is I diagnose where they are in the process of my process. So the first thing has to be, they have to be successful in Facebook ads. They have to meet certain requirements. The second thing is, you have to be okay with having someone represent you as a brand. And I would say like 99% of them don't. They all have influencers. And I tell them that because I'm like, listen, I'm here to consult you on your creative team, whoever your media team is, to do those for you, or hire out some influencer full time to make all their videos, so that you're not just doing exactly what you're talking about. They're just like, make a video. We don't know the platform. The whole point is, we want to know exactly what goes viral on our own profile. The most viral video is then to send it out to 20 influencers and say this in your own way to your own audience. And that's really what the hardest part is of building up a brand's TikTok team or creative team, because it always ends up being for other platforms too, is really just teaching them, holding their hand, and like letting them know. So our process is first just creating that brand personality on social media, and then moving them over to the ad platform, because the ad platform is really kind of the hardest part, because you're probably going to get better results organically, because TikTok knows how to do lookalike audiences and find the right people. You got to guess right here. And we need to track that data right here and then move it over. So typically we build up organically, move them to ads, and then we scale up their ads. If they're not interested in organic content, we have to do a deep dive of their Facebook ads and look at their CPM, CTR, ROAS, like everything that they probably don't want to tell anyone. And then we have to redesign their website to make sure it even fits like an offer that's ready for TikTok. Like it's very surgical on what we do, because people just assume they can just jump into TikTok. But yeah, it's making sure I'm not here to take people's money. I'm here to make sure that it's another revenue stream. So I'm very methodical in how we do get clients in our own process. It's not like a general process. It's like our internal process that people have to make sure that they fit into, or else I'm fine. Like, no, we don't work with you. You probably want some TikTok coach. I'm a TikTok consultant. Okay. There's a big difference. I work with brands. They work with influencers and solopreneurs. I'm only over here. I never go over here. And if you don't have $100,000 to spend, I'm sorry, we can't work with you, because that's how much it's going to take to really be good in TikTok ads. So it's a time consuming process.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's time consuming and experience demanding. And if you don't have the experience of developing a brand and aligning the message with the brand, you're essentially just shooting in the dark. And I think you said something important where you pretty much start from a brand level. It's very surgical in the sense of you help grow the brand before you even think about the creative, the advertising, the marketing of it. And that's something that's a lot of times neglected in marketing, where people just think that they can create a viral video and sell products, when instead you need to focus on step 0, essentially. Who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? What problem is your product solving? Then let's talk about that, develop some content around that. And then we need to identify who is the best person to talk about that, send it out to those people, and those people can send it out to their audiences. And then it all comes back through that sales funnel right back to you.
Exactly.
So I think that's super interesting. What's your process when creating creative, like the actual material?
Oh yeah, that's my bread and butter. Really is making. So I used in the good old beginning days of like learning how to even do this. I had companies pay me to post 3 times a day for them, and I've made, I don't know, probably thousands of videos. So much in the background of, compared to like what I do on my front facing profile, so much. I've gone viral in like 5 different categories, and I have to do research on each of them. But what it looks like is I probably do like 4 hours of hashtag research, and then I save the top 50 most viewed videos in that hashtag. And then I don't want to copy off of people's videos, because if I want to show up at the top of a hashtag, it has to be new content that people are seeing. So my strategy is cover as many bases as possible in as short amount of time as possible. So, like I did this one brand that was a prank company for embarrassing people. Like on the package, it says used panties, like certified, and people can see where it's from. And I think everyone's most normal reaction to making a video would be, let's do a reaction video, right? And so that's video one. I typically want to create like 5 to 10 videos that are like super different in how they strategize. And I have to be, I can't think, I have to assume none of them will work too, because I think a lot of creators, once you make a video, you're like, oh my God, I know this is going to go viral. Like, and you have to detach your emotions from that and look into the numbers of it. All I want to do is create 10 videos, and I want one of them to tell me some data. And if one of them tells me some data, then I now have 3 more videos to make from that. And then if one of those videos do well, or if none of those 3 videos do well, I have to go back to the drawing board and find out why that video actually did well. So that's my goal, is just all over. So with that prank company, I did an unboxing video of it. And then I did another video where it was explaining why the label said what it did. And it was going into detail about the specific label. And the first video was very nice and jokey. The second one was aggressive in how I did my tone and very shaky. And I remember like putting all these things on the table and like wiping it off. I'm like, this is the prank package. And, they had already posted a reaction video, and it got like 20,000 views. And then I posted the next 2 videos. They got the same amount of views. And so now we have 3 types of content that we can really rely on forever. And so that's like the types that I want to try: 15-second, 5-second, 30-second, 1-minute videos, aggressive, nice, no voice, some voiceover of that weird voiceover whenever you do voice to text. You want to try literally everything and not be attached to it at all is really my main strategy.
Awesome. So testing and then basing the creative off of successful metrics.
Yes.
But that's the only way to do it without getting fired.
It's really super simple, honestly. Yeah. And the hardest part is finding out 10 different videos to make on one subject that are unrelated to the other.
Yeah, no, that's true. I remember, so I went to school for strategic and corporate communication. So that's the degree that I got. And it was pretty much marketing, advertising, business, psychology, sociology, all these things put into one degree. And one of my classes, it was a marketing class, the professor was talking about how if you want to be a CMO of a company, or if you want to have an ad agency where you get customers coming in and you promise them a successful video. If you want to not get fired, you need to base all of your decisions off of data. And I thought that was extremely valuable because it completely separates you from the subjective nature of marketing.
Oh yeah.
So people can look at marketing. You can show one person 2 commercials and they'll say this one's good, this one's bad. And then you can show someone else those same 2 commercials, they'll say both of these are bad. So
Yes.
What's bad about it? What's good about it? It's very subjective, but it doesn't have to be. And when you're in a kind of subjective industry, you really have to get analytical. So you can always point back to the data and justify decisions based off of the data that you had to work with. So your strategy and your approach of creating content based off of what's working and what's not working, and A and B testing things and trying to understand how to grow a brand and a campaign based off of what's actually working is, in my opinion, the only way to do it. Otherwise,
Exactly.
again,
No,
you're
right.
just shooting in the dark.
Even clients are confused about that. Like they're like, well, how fast can I be profitable? And I'm like, bro, we're just looking to break even this first month. We're not. We're lucky if we do break even. We're buying data right now at cost.
Buying data. That is very, very true. And even more so with Facebook. I remember, man, I dropped thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, and my ROI was not thousands of dollars. This was my first month of learning how to do Facebook ads. And at this point, I'm like, damn, I should have just bought Facebook stock at this point. But it was draining. And I'm like, what am I doing? Then it clicked. I think I saw it in another YouTube video, or I heard someone talking about it where I was trying to learn like how to do all this stuff. They said the initial investment that you're making, you're essentially buying and paying Facebook to learn who to send this to. And you're buying that data and you're buying that information and you're paying for that AI to do its thing.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh. And then after I started collecting that data and optimizing my messaging and A and B testing, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, the ROI just skyrocketed from there because I started basing decisions off of data and analytics. Now, if I was a brand and I didn't know what I was doing, I would either reach out to someone like you or somebody who knows this process and does this process.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay that, what I call tuition, where you're trying to learn how to, you have to pay to learn, or pay an expert like yourself who already knows what to do.
Exactly. And it's honestly any brand that I come across, because there's some people who are like, I mean, we can afford 10 grand a month, but like we really need to be profitable pretty soon. I'm like, I'd rather have a brand that goes, oh yeah, like we have $50,000 to spend. We're okay losing it all. Not that I want to lose it all, but that should be your mindset really in like how attached you should be to this data. Cause you understand the process at that point. And it's hard. You know, how do you detach from that? How do you really go, that's not profit. That's not revenue. Whenever that's usually the bottom line. It's really hard. So it is. The faster you learn that, the better. So that's amazing that you learned that. I mean, it took me way longer for me to learn that too.
Yeah. We're in an industry where it's tough to justify what we do. When a brand comes in and says, hey, how much does it cost to make a video? What do you want? Yeah. How much do you have? And I always ask that question first, and I preface it by saying most of my customers hate when I say this. How much do you want to spend? And then they freak out. They're like, well, you're just going to take it all. I'm like, no, just tell me how much do you want to spend, and we will scale accordingly. If you have $100,000, I know that I can have 10 grips, a gaffer, and a DP, and we can rent a helicopter. But if you have $5,000, I'm gonna get rid of the helicopter and half my crew. So it really depends on what the brand's goals are and how much money that they have to spend. So then people like us can scale accordingly and get them what they need. So it's a fascinating industry that I went through. You're currently going through. You own your own company, right? You're the agency owner. What kind of advice do you have for other people who want to get into this industry?
I think I learned this in the past year. What you learn on Facebook ads, where you get these courses that are about how to do an agency model for small businesses, is not at all what it looks like. If you get great results and you start getting noticing by big brands, they're not going to ask you for your flat rate fee. They're going to ask you for your setup fee and your percentage of ad spend. And I remember when I got asked, and I was like, no, I don't have that. That's very, I thought I was like, no, that's exactly why you should go with me, because I don't take a percentage of your ad spend. And there's this whole corporate world of ads and small business ads. Like it's a lot of customer service on this end, a lot more money on this end, but a lot more is on the line. You know, you're at some point you become like a wealth manager. Like you're dealing with the same amount of money millionaires have accountants for, just to say, yes, buy that stock, go over there, right? Buy this life insurance policy. It's so I think the best piece of advice is really understand what you're going to get into, right? Like, are you okay only focusing on restaurants that have minimal budgets and will probably only pay you $500 a month? Or are you okay doing the Gary Vee model, where you just really don't have any experience, but you really do have networking experience with the biggest dogs out there, and you can make $1 million off of one client? You know, like, are you okay? Are you confident with doing that? Are you a good customer service rep? Like, it's not even, I don't even think it comes down to talent whenever you're an agency most of the time, because you can find and hire people that are really talented. It comes down to networking and negotiation and sales. Like, do you have all those things? Do you have customer service experience? Otherwise, you're not going to be good for that. And you should really learn. And I'd done door to door before, like selling roofs to people. And I was a Mormon missionary 5 years ago for 2 years in another country, speaking Dutch, trying to convince people to get baptized, right? I knew sales and I did marketing and networking and stuff like that, but you don't realize it until you're talking with some CMO and then you're really negotiating with them and their team to do a certain price point. That's what it comes down to. So like, just realize what you're getting into, because it's not as easy as what everyone says. And there's different sides of the industry.
100%. Do you recommend school for any of this?
I think school is, from what I've heard about marketing degrees, it's a bunch of case studies about successful Fortune 500s and their crazy campaigns that are over 10 years old. And I think the best thing school can be used for is for networking. And that's why a lot of people in startups like create businesses based off of the roommates and the classmates that they had. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of connections if you go to good schools. For the education, no, I think the best education is working for a company for 4 years instead of the, like, if I want to be Gary Vee, I would work for his company for 4 years and then I would start my own company. That's the only way I think people can learn, other than courses, reputable courses.
100%. And I went to school for this, and I can back up exactly what you said. All of my classes, very theoretical, very by the book, very case study driven, exactly like how you said. Everything is very textbook if this, then that, when in reality, it's nothing like that at all.
Yeah.
And my biggest value from school came from my professors who weren't full-time professors. My school had that for a few of my classes, and they were my favorite teachers, and they were the smartest teachers that I had, and they were the coolest teachers. So these guys all owned companies outside of their teaching careers. I don't even know why they were teaching, but they would come to class and talk to us about real life examples of what they're doing in their business. And they would talk to us and show us real life examples. They would bring in real life customers, and we would deal with their clients in our classroom as real applications for marketing. We would create case studies based off of real companies. And that gave us so much value and so much real world experience. And then after that, I would go into my like statistical data class, and we would look at numbers all day about something that to this day, with 15 years of marketing experience, I have never opened up SPSS to track statistical analysis on marketing campaigns. I don't know who does that. I don't know if like billion-dollar companies maybe do that. I don't know. I don't even know if they do that. They just call you and then they make TikToks. But it's
exactly.
I don't know if school really helps with the knowledge and the education, like you said, but it really does help with networking. My first few clients actually were those professors when I created my marketing consulting company. And I worked with them. I developed a relationship with them, and that just catapulted my career in marketing. Yeah. So that's the value. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, experience trying, failing, trying again, failing again, and trying is really what's important. On the note of entrepreneurship, you're obviously an entrepreneur. What kind of advice, or if somebody's listening to this and they want to go out and do something for themselves, they don't want to work at a regular job, they want to pursue their passions, what kind of advice do you have? What should they do?
I think this is why I love side hustles. This is why I always make videos about it. I think side hustles should never be a permanent strategy. I can't remember the last time I actually did a side hustle. I think it was probably a year ago at the start of the pandemic where I was like, let's see if I can make money. But I think everyone who is interested in being an entrepreneur should really just learn what it's like to make more money in an hour than you make in a week or in a day at your regular job. And then you're really going to start understanding what it's like being an entrepreneur, and all it's like a crash course in entrepreneurship without all the risk. You could I really did it all. I freaking dumpster dived for used boxes that I saw. People were buying a lot of boxes in the summer to go and move, and they wanted delivery. So then I was like, where do I source these free boxes? Because I'm not paying for them. And I would go to shoe stores and the recycling bins, and I'd shove them on the back of my car. And then I'd say in my listing, they were used boxes. They just didn't know it came from like a pretty clean dumpster that had nothing else in it other than boxes. And I would sell it to them for like a $30 to $20 delivery fee, and for I think $1 a box. And that was like, I could have scaled that, right? I could have had all those people donate those boxes to me if I really wanted to. And that's what you start thinking when you make $50 an hour selling cardboard boxes. And then you go, could I be a box manufacturer? Could I get fleets of cars to sell these boxes for me? Could I get donated these boxes and be a recycling company? And then you go, I could literally make a full-time job out of freaking boxes. And that's whenever you have to baptize yourself in entrepreneurship. That's really the only way. I can't convince anyone to be an entrepreneur. You have to teach yourself, and the best way to do that is to get on side hustles, and just practice. That's it, because it's all applicable in every business situation. What you learn as a guy who spray paints numbers on people's driveways. Like you're going to learn sales that way. You're going to learn profit margins that way, revenue, and, you know, cost per mile. And you're going to learn how to track your miles, and even Uber and Lyft. You like learn stuff with that too. You learn how fast you need to drive to make a certain amount of money per hour, right? Like
Yeah.
I think everyone should get into it if they're ever, you can't just, I don't think anyone should just jump in. You really have to be in that mindset of how to make money, and to be in the wealth mindset of there's always a way to make money, and I can always find a way of making it. And now I'm no longer scared of quitting my job.
I love it. That painting numbers on the sidewalk. Did you see that guy on TikTok?
Oh, I had.
Did you just make that up?
Brothers who did that. I have seen like YouTube videos and TikToks. I don't know.
There's this guy on TikTok. I don't know his handle or anything. I just saw a video like a month ago, but that's all he does is he repaints numbers on sidewalks. And I think he says how much money he makes from it. And that just pisses everybody off. The entire comment section is, wow, like, I can't believe you're scamming this. It's like $20 to paint it, $50 to paint it, whatever it is. It's like he's not scamming anyone. He's providing a service, and he's getting paid for his service and time and skill. And as I'm scrolling through the comment section, I see all of this negativity on somebody succeeding in something that they like doing. Obviously, this guy likes painting, so that's all he does. And what clicked for me is, none of these people in this comment section are entrepreneurs. Any entrepreneur who would see that video would go, yes, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. That guy's doing something. It seems simple and he's getting paid. Hell yeah, keep it up. And that's the mentality when you're getting into entrepreneurship, is you find something that you're passionate about and dive into it. And once you start making money, it's uphill from there. It's downhill from there. So even with your box example, you started thinking of other ways to scale, to grow, to increase revenue, to optimize, to do all these things. And that is an entrepreneurial mindset that I think people need to adopt if they want to get into entrepreneurship. And you talked about starting it as a side hustle. Do you mean that as in like you have a normal job and then you have something on the side that you start growing as like a passion project? What's your definition of a side hustle?
Well, I mean, the way that I got into side hustles was I got back from my 2-year mission, lived with my parents, and then I refused to get a job. And it was still my side hustle, even though it was my full-time job. But I know most people in most situations probably already work a job, and they just are. It's the same reason people go into MLMs. Like they're just trying to make some extra money. Someone built an infrastructure, and all you have to do is sell it, right? Just to make some extra money. Maybe afford the car bill, right? Yeah, that's what I view a side hustle as, is anyone who has a job, full-time job, and they're just trying to do something on the side that generates a little bit of income.
And then with the goal of possibly scaling it up into something full-time.
Yeah, I don't think side hustles should be, I don't think everyone should like do power washing full time, right?
Yeah.
It's a means to an end, right? What's your main goal? I always knew I was not going to do weddings forever. I think my main goal really, and I figured this out years ago, is just to buy and flip businesses. Really. I like being and teaching people things. I like consulting. That's my main end goal. And every step that I take has always been towards that end goal. And it's made it easier for me to go through business after business to get one step closer. So the side hustle should really be a means to an end in getting out of the company, of any company I'm working for. And then, do I want to be a professor one day? Sure. How am I going to get there? First, I have to do this, right? That's what I think.
Nice. I like it. Speaking of side hustles, you've been making these TikToks about blockchain side hustles.
I have.
Now, I've never heard of that until your videos, and I guarantee you the people watching this haven't heard of that either. What the hell is a blockchain side hustle?
That's kind of the whole point, bro. This is, I think 2 months ago, I made a video about NFTs, and I had noticed the trend of everyone going, if you're a digital artist, get into NFTs, non-fungible tokens, amazing crypto world of NFTs. And I was like, this is a hot hype train. This will like die out overnight. And I didn't look into it. So then I took time to then read a book after making a quick video about how Logan Paul made millions of dollars off of it. And I researched more and I was like, whoa, this is actually insane, but no one's saying it the right way. And I read about how Vitalik Buterin started Ethereum and what Ethereum really is. And I had read books on, the deep web cryptocurrency before, and I understood how blockchain worked, blockchain decentralization worked. And I researched it very much for 2 months, all the little crevices of it. And then I networked on Clubhouse with people who are full-time NFT artists. And I started to realize what the real world implications were of blockchain technology. And I had been saving this idea because the only way, and you hear this, it's like they're full of activism. They're like, this will change IDs, passports, NFTs, like we can change the world. F the police, right? Like F the man. And the only way anyone will adopt mass adoption of anything is if you really dumb it down to where the youngest person in the room can understand, but no one really is doing that. And so that's kind of my goal is these things have existed forever. Since the beginning of blockchain technology, there's always been side hustles, but no one has talked about it because it's always been like the socially awkward kid who's actually a programmer making Dogecoin in his basement, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my goal is really exploring going over what I learned in the past 2 months of basic research and then dumbing it down for everyone to show that there's now there's a metaverse where you can make money and you don't have to go out, do hard labor as a side hustle anymore. You just have to be early on these trends because it's like a whole other world if you just like step in a little bit. So yeah, I started making those videos because I know side hustles and I love making videos about it, but I think it on TikTok, it started getting into here's how you make $1,000 an hour. If you theoretically know how to voice act and know how to have an agent that will get you a 5-hour book deal, and then you market yourself with a $3,000 microphone. Yeah, that's how you'll make $1,000 an hour. And it's like, no one's going to do that. And you're just like doing that for views and you're lying because it's not that easy. It's like, you can make $1 million a year with this one side hustle. Just go to school, become an architect. No, it's not a side hustle. It's not that easy. No. So that's, I think this is a lot cooler because I'm teaching people about blockchain while teaching them how to make money too, which makes them excited to adopt it and then to use it.
Yeah. You know how many videos I've drafted and then deleted of me like doing an options trade or like buying a stock and then making a ridiculous amount of money and then being like, you could make $1 million a year if you just do this. I'm like, no, I mean, like I got one good trade. I'm not going to do that 15 times in a day and then make $1 million a day. But instead I like to teach the fundamentals of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why you should learn how to do this and that. And I keep it very simple, like you said, so the youngest person, the least experienced person in the room can understand it, because if they do, so does everyone else, and it just rises all of the boats with the tide. So back to this Ethereum side hustle. I don't get it. I want to know. I want to play an ignorant role here. How can you get into it, get started? What is it? Explain. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think what people don't really understand about blockchain and decentralization is that, everyone knows Bitcoin, and they're like, everything's Bitcoin that I hear about. Everything can be compared to Bitcoin, but there's actually other examples of what you can do. And Ethereum was the first to change the whole history of what we know as blockchain and decentralization. They knew that. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. That's all it is. It's like a literal freaking coin that it's just like currency. Ethereum is not a coin. Ether is a coin. Ethereum, imagine it's a computer, right? And you put in lines of code, and then you pay it in Ether to then run your code. So which now makes it decentralized, right? If I want to make a website or I want to design a website, I have to go to Squarespace, Wix, whatever, and I have to pay them to design the website, like just to use that. That's kind of like what Ethereum is, except Ethereum runs anything you want based off of these codes. So you can make decentralized apps, you can make websites, you can make games on it. You can do anything you want so long as you pay in Ether to run the program. So that's why Ether has gone up in value, because Ethereum has hundreds of thousands, probably millions of users, where people are now, their whole website is based on Ethereum. And if you have to pay in Ether to run it, and everyone's basing their platform on Ethereum, more people are going to buy it, so then it goes up. And there's an infinite supply of Ether to run it. Like, it's not like Bitcoin where there's a limited supply. Unlimited, you run the platform. That now changes your mindset of, okay, what's possible with blockchain then? Like, what does that mean? So then that's where we go into NFTs, right? The Ether now changed it to where it's not just coins that are created on a blockchain. You can create websites, you can create apps, you can create pieces of art, non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Non-fungible means limited supply. Fungible means unlimited supply. We're talking about dollars. We're talking about, I don't know, like anything that can be replicated over and over and sold for the same price because it can be replicated over and over. Non-fungible is the equivalent of a Pokemon card. And imagine, like this is my favorite example of, we know about RuneScape, Fortnite, where people sold accounts on eBay with like special items on them. If RuneScape or Fortnite found out about it, they would ban you. It was always centralized, controlled by them. Imagine you get a sword from beating a boss in RuneScape or World of Warcraft or any other thing, or a special skin in Fortnite, but you actually own that piece. Like, you literally own that piece of the game that has been generated, and there's only 10 in existence. That is now worth real world money using NFTs, because they can make in-game items, non-fungible tokens that are only owned by 10 players, and all the game owners have to do is create a marketplace to sell it on, and then you get it in real world money. You can create, I've seen metaverses, which is a virtual world. I've seen metaverses where people buy plots of land and they rent out that plot of land to where you can make your own store. And it's like in a digital world that is based on Ethereum or anything like Ethereum, because there's been a lot of other Ethereum platform type companies. You can sell the land, you can sell the freaking building blocks, you can sell you even have to pay for your username, and you now own that username as if it's like a website. You own everything in a virtual world where we now know you, like forever you could take screenshots. I could screen record this video and it's now mine. I can say it's mine. With blockchain, it's now minted on a blockchain where you say this NFT was created by this person on this date. It is legally owned by this guy. And the source code and the source file is wrapped inside this piece of code, which now makes it non-replicatable. People can take screenshots of the preview, but they will never have the original. And that's how you prove that you have the original. And so that's just in gaming technology. That's why people talk about licenses too. Imagine the government created an NFT for your license on this day at this time, put in your address and whatever, wrapped it in that piece of code. You just now need to show that to people for like a cop at a stop, right? You can do this with receipts, coupons, anything that has always been a problem of replicating and stealing is what NFTs solve. So that's like the most basic version of what I've learned.
No, I love it. I really resonate with that. The gaming application of it. I mean, I grew up playing World of Warcraft ever since like it came out. I grew up playing Counter-Strike. So I played Fortnite a lot as well. There's a lot of those unique items that you would accumulate, but the only real world value would be on some sort of black market where you would either take your CSGO skins and bet them on an online gambling site where you would use the value of those skins and then lose those skins if you lost the bet or something like that. Or you could sell it on some. There's a lot of different ways. And if those gaming companies would adopt NFTs or NFT technology, that would be a huge game changer, because wouldn't they also get additional revenue from that?
Exactly. Yeah. So with an NFT to buy it in the first place, I mean, they could, like with, I played RuneScape. So like, I know RuneScape as a kid, but they would have like those party hats that they would sell during Christmas drops, you know, like, or like those limited edition skins for Apex Legends, so long as you like join during this few months, right? They could sell those, and then every time it's resold, it's just like selling an actual piece of art. Like
get royalty.
That artist should get royalties. You can now program royalties in to where you always get paid forever, even if the price goes up, to where eventually you could make more. Like Crypto Kitties, if you've heard of them, all of their kitties mostly were given away for free. They now make money passively with people selling $1 million digital kitties.
Yeah.
And if you get 10% of that, like, who cares if I gave it away for free? It went up in value while I was waiting, and I make money all the time.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's not, and that's, I don't think people understand that either about NFTs. You don't even necessarily need to like put a value on it to make money. If you consistently like create NFTs and then create the demand for it and market it to people, you'll make money on every trade because people are buying it to make money off of it.
Yeah.
So,
you had a TikTok that talked about NFT for, I think it was sports tickets.
Yep.
Where like if I buy a sports ticket from a sports stadium, the problem is then I can go resell that, and the stadium won't like that because I mean they just made one source of profit from me, but then I can double it and sell it somewhere else. But if it was an NFT, they could continue to get royalties and they wouldn't really care if I did sell it. Do you think companies will eventually adopt this technology?
I think so. I think the way that people need to, or the way that we'll really get into that is if someone creates an application that makes it super easy to understand what a wallet is that holds an NFT, and then scan it, and you have to buy credit card too. It's those two problems have to be solved before it's mass adoption.
So
You
an
have to make
easy
it as
wallet
seamless as
and easy
possible.
payment.
Huh?
An easy wallet and easy payment.
Yeah, like, tickets usually get sent to our email. MetaMask solves that because MetaMask is like blockchain email.
Mhm.
You sign in with your wallet wherever you go. If it's now like, oh, I just bought it with my credit card, now it shows up in my MetaMask, I can now go up to the person to scan the barcode there, and they know that that was the NFT, right? There's I think a blockchain, like one of the biggest blockchain events already does it, and they have thousands of people come there, and they're like 200 speakers. They already do it in pretty big numbers, and I know that there's a lot of opportunity, but I think there's some problems that still need to be solved for it to be adopted by the Super Bowl, right?
Mhm.
Because people resell Super Bowl tickets all the time.
Yeah.
Just for the memories of like their favorite team going to the Super Bowl. This makes it easier. This really helps with it, but you got to make it ready for the dumbest person still.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any way to make an NFT physical? Because I'm a big physical guy. I like collecting things physically. It would be cool to have a collection of things, for example, a Super Bowl ticket or something that I own. Like, is there a way to get it physical?
Yes. Well, yeah. With I think the first NFT I bought, I am still waiting to get it, but it's in a frame, and it's the wallet address that will show my NFT like over and over. And it's like a gift that I bought. So there's ways of doing it to where like that's the same thing as like a receipt, like an NFT receipt, right? This is verifying the authenticity of the item that I bought on the blockchain. There's people who mint clothing on the blockchain. So like the tag on my shirt could be a link to an NFT that proves that I bought it on a certain date at a certain price. And whoever sold me the shirt is now written in there, right? So there's whole marketplaces being built right now that are doing exactly that, like where they're selling sports memorabilia that are linked to the blockchain, where it can have, let's say, Babe Ruth's bat in the real world and in the virtual world. And in the virtual world, it's kind of like the version of a PSA 10 verifying authority, saying that, yes, this NFT is officially linked to this. And it makes its own marketplace in the metaverse for that item too, because now this real world item exists in the metaverse, and if they ever get separated, they can be sold separately. But it's also like a way of tracking like memorabilia too. Like you hear about garage sales where people find this $1 million painting.
Uh-huh.
NFTs could solve that problem to where people always find out what the fuck it was if you just scan the back of the painting, and it now leads you to the NFT. Oh, this was created and minted on this day and sold for this much. It's no longer going to road shows. And then going, oh my gosh, no way. It's all in the history of the NFT.
It's fascinating. Going back to the side hustle part of this, how do you get started in, I mean, there's so many different applications for this kind of stuff. How do you even narrow your focus? Where do you look? How do you learn more? How do you get started in a side hustle for this?
Yeah, I think one of the best ways of doing it are just like any savings you have, learning about staking, like just a little bit, to where, because we're moving away from mining, which is mass computer power, and we're going into proof of stake, which means you have to hold and then lock up money, and then you get interest on your money that you lock up. And then once it's kind of like the side hustle thing too is like, you won't believe blockchain technology works until you make money from it. and that you can make it a full-time job. So start out small. Buy any, like Coinbase does this too. Coinbase is the most simple one to use. They'll tell you exactly which ones you could buy. There's even USD coin, USDC. It is actual US dollars on the blockchain, and you can make, I think, 2% a month just by converting all of your money. That's already, you won't even lose any money. It's a stable coin, which means it's always going to be linked to the price of what USD is. You'll make money just by converting all your savings, putting it into a stable coin that you will never lose money on. And then you'll get 2% cash back monthly, not yearly, like some savings banks, like savings accounts. Like, just learn the basics. Learn about how blockchain works. Learn about what the real world like applications are of these things, and just search, what is an NFT? How does blockchain technology work? What is a blockchain? Why is it called blockchain? And ask all those questions before you even try and start making money. Like, you have to learn what proof of stake is and proof of work to really understand what is possible with that stuff. And then you'll be more confident, and you're not going to be watching guys like me go, here's how you make money if you already understand NFT technology, right?
Right.
You really have to understand the basics to know how to get into it deeper. But the easiest way, staking your coin, staking what you have and making money faster than any bank has allowed you to in the past. And one of the safest ways I've ever come across, besides mutual funds, whatever, stocks, consistently doing that, you could even find a freaking coin that's a new coin that'll give you more than a yearly return on stocks just by having a 401k. If you just convert $100 into something, it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. I come from a background where what I do is I dollar cost average my way into bigger and bigger positions with Bitcoin and Ethereum and XLM, Stellar Lumen. I invest that way. And I've never looked into the different real world applications of these cryptocurrencies, or I've never dived deeper into how NFTs work, into how blockchain really does X, Y, and Z. I've never looked into additional projects and what these altcoins are doing. All I do is I just put money in there, and I just keep adding money in there, and it just keeps going up. And if it goes up, great, I'll buy more. If it goes down, great, I just buy more. And it's essentially like a store of value for me. And when I see videos that like people like you post where it says like, you could do this, this, and this, I'm like, oh, maybe I should look into different applications of blockchain. And I don't think a lot of people are thinking that way or having that conversation or are exposed to that concept yet, where from the very basics, like you said, staking your cryptocurrency. I got an email from Coinbase that said you can stake your Ethereum and get
2.0.
Yeah, and 2.0, and you can get money just staking it. I'm like, okay. And then I looked into it, and it said like, oh yeah, so you put your money in here, and then you can't touch that money until Ethereum 2.0 comes out. Now, the conservative nature of money inside of me was like, are you really going to lock up your money and you don't know when you're going to get it back? Is that what happens if Coinbase disappears? What happens if Ethereum 2.0 never comes out? What happens if this? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I just don't want to deal with it. So I didn't stake it. And then I see other people, staking their cryptocurrency in like the most random altcoins. I'm like, where did that even come from? What does it even do? Why would I stake my money in there? Why would I put my money into this liquidity pool? Why would I do any of this? I'll just keep it safe over here. And I just don't know the risks. And where do you read about the risks? What are the risks?
I don't think there's, that's what I'm trying to solve, that problem too, because Even with the blockchain side hustle videos, I've had people go, tell me exactly how to do this, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do it. I know it in theory also, and I know people who have done it in small scale, but the way that there's a whole YouTuber world that's really full of a lot of content. Like I know a guy called Voss Coin on YouTube. He only buys miners and then reviews them.
Mhm.
And then he teaches about everything around mining and what the newest news is in the mining world of cryptocurrency. So it's actually doing a lot of research and everything. I think Reddit threads are pretty educational.
Mhm.
If you just search r/NFT, there's usually a pinned thread at the top that is made for beginners. Kind of like if you go to churning on Reddit, everyone who's like, oh, I could travel full time just by having credit cards that I
Yeah.
manufacture spending on. No one knows what I'm saying whenever I say that until you go to that Reddit thread, and then there's a bunch of new people saying like, what is churning? Why is it called churning? So
Yeah.
it's and I think it's worth digging because it's not easy to find that info. I there's 4 books that are on Audible that talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and what you can do with it. There's 4 freaking books, and this has been in existence for over 10 years. And I think it's a lot like how today, right? Me, you, some teenager can use Canva, or we can go to Wix and do things that in 1999 were absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But people were doing it with more expensive applications. And I think that's what's going to happen in 10 to 20 years with blockchain, probably faster based on what's happening. The people who learn now are the ones who are going to create those things for everyone to use blockchain and not even question it. The cell phones we have today, the people who bought the Palm Pilots understood why they were important
Yeah.
whenever it first came out. And they were able to take advantage of what the market was created with app stores in the beginning because
Yeah.
they understood what it meant real world application wise. So people who learn now are setting up their future. It's really an investment in your whole future right now, because that's how I feel about blockchain. I do think it will become mass adoption. I think it already has become a little bit, but nowhere near where I think it will be. I don't think NFTs are even where they should be, like in popular view. Like everyone only knows about a $69 million NFT that sold from Beeple.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to change that. I think there's more ways of doing NFTs, and we're like in the equivalent of like a web craziness. Like everyone's just getting into blockchain to make some money, but it'll all settle out and it'll be part of our regular lives. So you just got to research. There's not a ton of content, and it's not easy to find. And I'm still trying to answer my own questions that I have daily. But it's really just Googling, YouTube, and Reddit that I've found like anything. But you really got to search hard, but understand the basics, and then you'll know what other questions to ask, and then specific terms, because it comes down to specific terms. Like I'm getting into nodes right now. I had no clue what that was, but I heard it in passing when learning about blockchain. But now there's super nodes, there's bounties, and Gitcoin airdrops, whatever. And I never know until I learn the phrase, because that's all they're doing. But if they would have said, here's how to create a virtual supercomputer and make cryptocurrency, and then you learn that's a node, right? that's that's what it is, but they're not dumbing it down. So I mean, that's the hard part about all of this.
Just dive into it, research, and then experience it.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, I'll go do that and I'll let you know how it goes. I think we covered everything here. I don't have any more questions for you unless you have any questions for me.
I don't think so. I respect what you've done on TikTok, because I think I followed you. It was like you took advantage of just what the world was into at the right time. You used the right terms that everyone was finally. I had been on Wall Street bets for, I don't know, 5 years, and I'd known about nuggies and stonks and all their memes and the way that they'd re-edit movies to to be about the Bears and the Bulls. And it finally became mainstream because of people like you, because of crazy people on Wall Street bets, like actually making history and like changing what culture was in the financial world. And I think your content is very good and strategized with how you like grew super fast. And so I have always thought that was super cool how you did that.
Awesome.
That's what I've meant to tell you all this time.
Thanks, man. No, I appreciate that. I really appreciate it. I remember when I first wanted to get into all of this, it all started when I typed in wallstreetstonks.com and it was available. And I'm like, no way. I've been on Wall Street bets for so long and I'm seeing all this, stonks that. I'm like, nobody bought wallstreetstonks.com. So I bought it. I made a merch store because I thought all of the stock market merchandise was lame. I got this sweater on. I designed a bunch of merch that I thought was sleek and sexy and not like super meme-ish. And I'm like, well, now I gotta go on TikTok. And then I'm on TikTok. TikTok quickly learned who I am, what I like, and it starts showing me all of these different people's stock talks and yours. And then I started to create content based off of just educational material that I've developed over the last 15 years of investing, and shifted the narrative from don't blow your whole life savings on these meme stocks, but instead maybe create a long-term stock portfolio and start growing it over time. And I started sprinkling in little words of knowledge that I've just learned over time.
Yeah.
And it blew up based off of just the name and the content that's out there and the quality, and people like you who appreciate the stuff that I make. So I thank you for saying that you like my content and everything. And
oh yeah, man.
I hope it just continues to grow from here and at least change one person's life. I'm just waiting for like 10 years down the road when somebody can pinpoint, oh, I watched this guy on TikTok one time and he said I should make a long-term stock portfolio, and now I'm a millionaire. And I saw this podcast with this other guy and he was talking about NFTs, so I started to learn about NFTs, and that guy changed my life. That's the whole purpose here. And that's why I love content creation, because hopefully we can plant a seed in someone's head. Hopefully somebody looks into getting into entrepreneurship, whether if they have a passion in marketing or if they have a passion in something else, or if they want to learn more about blockchain, or if they want to learn more about stocks and investing and all these different things. So I appreciate you for doing what you're doing, and I hope we can just continue to do that forever.
For sure, man. Totally agree. That's the goal. It's really cool to see the changes brought out upon just you speaking about something whenever you thought you didn't have a voice before, and there was just professional people that did that, but people actually care, and it's really cool to see that for sure.
Yeah. And with that, we'll end the episode here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Boom. Done. That was easy.
Yeah, it was good. I love chatting.
Yeah, that was fun.